Hi, this is Hannah Kandler, and this is my mini research project presentation. My research question was, what are the differences between after-school programs in high-achieving schools versus low-achieving schools in the Warren County School District? I used content analysis for my research, and my research objects included K-Prep testing data from the 14 Warren County elementary schools, as well as information found on those schools' websites. My procedures included researching different types of after-school programs, their strengths and weaknesses, and what made them successful on EBSCO. And then I also found and organized K-Prep results from the Warren County elementary schools using their school report cards. I organized that data into high-achieving and low-achieving schools, and also researched the types of after-school activities that they offer and put that in the spreadsheet as well. And then I was going to combine all of that data with my literature review to see what causes after-school programs to be successful and what schools could do to spark participation, engagement, and academic success within their own program. All right, my literature review. Here are some quotes that I thought were significant. Recent reports indicate that over 8 million K through 12 children participate in after-school programs. The 21st Century Community Learning Center program in 2009 provided $1.1 billion to after-school programs. According to a recent survey, 15% of American students participate in some sort of structured, supervised program outside of school, and an additional 30% would participate if quality programming were offered in their community. Among the studies that fail to show benefits of after-school programs, participants are sometimes compared with non-participants without considering the extent of dosage or type of program, while in other cases the studies focus on what programs offer rather than children's actual extent of participation. In my first article, it was the longest article and the one that provided the most information. The title is at the top of the page, What Works After School, the relationship between after-school program quality, program attendance, and academic outcomes. To summarize this the best that I can, their study included 5,000 elementary and middle school students in after-school programs in New York in 2008 and 2009. The programs were in schools, they were voluntary, and they were created with the purpose of meeting academic expectations as well as offering kids cultural, recreational, and life skills activities. The results showed a positive relationship between reading scores and both structured interactions and the supportive environment of after-school programs. The results indicated that the way programs are carried out can impact a student either positively or negatively depending on how they are run. It mentioned that some programs aren't effective because they're not aligned with the school curriculum well enough. And it also doesn't help that oftentimes success is based off of K-Prep scores, and K-Prep scores, as we all know, sometimes doesn't accurately measure student achievement. This article also defined a quality program as having a supportive environment that allows students to set their own goals, to make their own choices, and having positive interactions with staff and other students. It discussed attendance in all 4 journal articles as being a problem because attendance is low and has been low for years. And just because the attendance is low doesn't mean a program is bad, but it has led to a lack of significant findings in this research area. Attendance factors could be based off of what programs are offered, what students are interested in, how they're going to be transported back and forth, how much the activities cost, the schedule, etc. Oftentimes parents don't want to bother taking kids to programs because they're reluctant to alter their own schedule. There was an association with lower test scores and purposeful management discovered in this study, which I thought was interesting. This was the only coordination of after-school programs and actually lowering test scores, and this was only in the circumstance where the activities didn't meet the students' needs or adequately promote skill development, and it actually hindered them because they had a lack of motivation to do the activities that were being offered to them. So if their needs aren't being met, these after-school programs can actually backtrack a student's progress. The findings of the study imply that after-school program quality and focus do relate to student development and academic success. All of the other 3 articles just build on the first one. The second one also did a study on students in after-school programs, specifically the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Dallas. They looked at how many times the student attended a program and also the number of programs students were involved in. Okay, so that involves intensity and breadth. So most of the children came from economically disadvantaged areas, and they found that the best scenario for academic achievement was when the student had a high level of attendance and participation across many programs, and that directly was related to an increase in their GPA. The more they participated, the more their grades went up. In reference to why that was such a big deal, they said that consistent monitoring and support of homework activities and the completion of homework in a group setting were the mechanisms that offered academic benefits. It also mentioned that maybe some of the benefits of the program may not have even been program related, but just because it got them out of a negative home environment and the program acted as a shield to protect them and to put them in a safe, supportive environment. Article number 3 once again builds on the same ideas. 9 programs were studied, ages pre-K through grade 6. They had a snack, they had time with homework help, and then they had activities that were art, athletics, Girl Scouts, and free play related. Evidence provided by this study was that students who benefit the most academically from after-school programs, once again, attend regularly and are highly engaged in specific types of activities, academic, youth development, and art. Due to a high level of engagement, students are able to translate many things into the classroom, such as self-regulation, sustained attention, collaboration, and goal-directed behavior. The last article focused on, instead of the other 3, it didn't really focus as much on attendance or test scores, but more about what students thought of the programs they were in. This was grades 3 through 6. School would end, they would have a snack, they would have homework time, and then 1 to 2 hours of activities that were recreation-based, art-based, and things to enhance their academics. It said in this study that program satisfaction was linked to a simple element that many after-school programs provide, which is a safe place where one can do their homework. They named some characteristics of successful programs, and those included presence of student interest, physical and psychological safety, hiring and retaining high-quality staff, and proper staff training. Programs have these qualities tend to overcome barriers associated with traditional learning environments and can reach youth who are typically difficult to serve because of issues with behavior, disinterest, and poor self-efficacy. Here are my thoughts and analysis of the 4 journal articles. Based on the 4 of them I chose, students benefit the most when an after-school program. They attend it at a high rate because they're interested. They have a high degree of participation. They have time to complete their homework. And the programs are run by the same caring and motivated people year after year. If they don't have these things, it can often block success. Another blocker to success would be not having program options available and not being able to get to the programs because of a lack of transportation. Each journal that I mentioned to you talks about how in previous studies they didn't find a lot of information because they felt like these studies never dig deep enough to come up with reliable results, which I found odd because there are so many different articles I could have chosen. But I've come to understand that these studies have had limited success because after-school programs have so many variables that you could study that relate to academic achievement and just overall program success. So many times these studies compare students that are in programs to students that are not in the programs, and that shouldn't even have a correlation. Instead, in my opinion, they should more focus on studying one student in depth over a long period of time before the program, during the program, and after the program to see if they can see a trend in how the program affects that student's daily life. I created an Excel spreadsheet compiling local data outside of the literature review from the 14 Warren County elementary schools, and I separated the schools into the top 7 and the bottom 7 based on K-Prep scores that I got off of the KDE website. And then I also researched each individual website of the 14 schools to figure out what types of clubs and activities they offered based on their website. So I'm going to show you those results. This is the K-Prep test scores. So this is the K-Prep test scores for reading and the 2016 and 2017 school year. You can see at the top here that I have the overall percentage for Warren County School District is 55.9%, and that percent is the number of proficient and distinguished. And then you can see here are the top 7 schools, and here are the bottom 7 schools based off of reading scores, proficient and distinguished students. The interesting thing is when I show you the math scores, which I'm about to show you right now, you'll see that there was very little variation, which surprised me. This is math. Same thing. Percent of proficient and distinguished students. If I click back and forth, you can see a couple of schools trade places. But on both reading and math, the top 7 is the top 7, and the bottom 7 is the bottom 7. Some of them within the top and the bottom swap places, but that is as far as it goes as far as differences. Here are some charts and graphs that I made concerning the after-school programs within my local county. So this is the 14 elementary schools in Warren County types of clubs offered. I categorized them by academic, fine arts, athletics, and leadership. So as you can see, there are more options of academic clubs than anything else. And leadership clubs are also more popular, and academic are more popular than fine arts and athletics. Not more popular as in students choose to do them, but more popular as in how many options are offered and how many schools actually offer them. So like for art associated, only 2 out of 14 schools have an art club. And only 3 out of 14 schools have a drama club. So very little option for many students in many schools to do anything art related at all. Athletics was also really low, which I found surprising. Only 3 schools in the entire district offer any type of athletic activities. Academic and leadership much more popular, specifically Beta Club in 8 of the schools, academic team in 9 of the schools. Leadership most popular was the Energy and Green team, 6 schools, and STLP in 10 schools. Here is the same 4 categories, but low achieving versus high achieving. So the 7 schools that I showed you that were low achieving, they are in the purple, and then the 7 schools I showed you that were high achieving, they're in the pink. So as you can see, high achieving schools offer almost double the amount of academic clubs, double the amount of fine arts clubs, and more than double the amount of athletic clubs. Low achieving schools only outnumbered in one area, and that was leadership. And personally, I think the reason for this is oftentimes in lower achieving schools, you need leaders, and you need students to rise above behavior and economics a lot of times and show leadership. And so I think in lower achieving schools, leadership is a priority. So this is why I think this kind of factored out the way that it did. So my analysis of the local data was just the fact that high achieving schools offered more clubs in 3 of the 4 categories. The only category that lower achieving outnumbered on was the leadership clubs. Overall within the district, there are a whole lot more academic and leadership options available. And another thing that is another way of simply putting, it says that there are 5 to 7 options for academic and leadership activities, but most schools only offer academic team and beta club for academics and energy team and STLP for leadership, which I put just meant repetitive and few options available. On average, 8 clubs were offered in each of the high achieving schools and 5 clubs offered in each of the low achieving schools. Here's my conclusion combining local data with my research. It's critical for an after-school program's success that they offer a variety. I've listed in detail based off my research what constitutes a successful program. Combining this with the local data has led me to believe that more program options need to be offered within our schools. Students should have the opportunity to get involved in a program where they can feel supported, they can spend time with staff and their peers, get homework help, and just let loose and have fun. When I reviewed the 14 school websites, I didn't see but a couple of schools put a major priority on student-based activities. They need to keep up excitement for these type of activities for the students to want to come. On many school websites, I couldn't find any trace of any after-school activity or program of any kind. Students should be able to be proud of the group that they are a part of and get on the school website and see pictures of themselves and get excited about upcoming events. Research shows that program attendance, participation, and consistency is of the utmost importance, and I think this is where my local county and many areas of Kentucky are failing when it comes to these programs. In my opinion, these programs should not be categorized by academics, athletics, fine arts, or leadership. Instead, it should be a type of club or a group that encompasses all of those things. Give them time to work on their homework. Help review math and reading skills. Then have an art or a music activity planned. Get students up and moving, get them physically active, and teach them how to be leaders. A program that could address all of these areas instead of just doing one at a time. If a student in this county wants to participate in all 4 of those areas, they're going to have to join at least 4 clubs, potentially being busy 4 out of 5 nights a week. Higher achieving schools do have more options, but I don't think that any school in Warren County is meeting its full potential concerning these programs. I think that instead of individual staff members offering a small specific group, everyone that's willing to sponsor a group should come together and sponsor large encompassing groups that are able to do more things because there are more hands and more people that want to help. Here is my animation. Okay, so to finish this off, some limitations I had on this project would be the short amount of time to collect the data. Specifically for my project, this included only being able to use information from the school's websites instead of asking individual schools. I had a limited sample size of 14 elementary schools within one district, and I was limited to 4 journal articles from EBSCO. Some recommendations I would have for continued research would be researching the best types of clubs for student engagement and achievement. Maybe studies that have longer lengths of time where students are studied instead of just within one program or over the course of a couple of weeks. My recommendations would be that schools offer a wide selection of clubs, and that schools potentially would give out a survey at the beginning of the year to see what types of clubs students would be the most interested in, because if they're interested, they're going to be engaged, and if they're engaged, they're going to be successful. And also, a recommendation would be to increase the school's awareness of the importance of their website and keeping it up to date on student activity so that students, teachers, and parents can be aware. My references for the Warren County School Data Collection are listed, as well as the EBSCO database. And here are my 4 references listed for my academic journals that I use for my literature review. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, my name is Hannah Kandler, and this is my mini research project.